Welcome back to the For Sure Pod. Today's episode proudly sponsored by LifeSpark.bio. Check us out to get your swimmers right. Today we're joined by a legend and a great friend, Brock Miller, NFL punter, trainer, fitness guru, food advocate. He's
Wow.
played in multiple leagues, including the NFL, XFL, USFL, and college. And he's continuing to channel his expertise into coaching, fitness training, and well beyond. Let's kick it off, Brock. Can you introduce yourself for those who don't know you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you did a good job. I mean, first of all, thanks for having me on, dude. I love what you're doing. Yeah, that was quite the introduction. I think that was like, kind of overselling it a little bit, but I'm gonna have to take some of that. Yeah, no, I think you nailed the, nail on the head there, and it's like covered all the bases. I'm doing a lot of fitness stuff. I'm still currently training to play pro football, and just combining this all in one here down in the bubble that I call it, down in North County, San Diego. So absolutely living the dream right now and cannot complain.
Dude, I love it. We're definitely going to get in the NFL stuff and the kicking stuff, but let's go linear. Now I want to keep it simple for the people at home.
For sure.
So you grew up in San Diego, Santa Fe Christian legend. Do you ever wish that you grew up somewhere that would have maybe made you a little bit tougher, like Alaska?
Dude, between being a kicker and a punter and then also just literally growing up in the paradise bubble, I'm soft, and like to most of the rest of the country, or honestly the rest of the world, man, it's like I'm so blessed to be here, so spoiled to be here. My high school, Santa Fe Christian, private high school, Drew Brees just accepted a job there to be the offensive coordinator. It's just like an unbelievable place. I love where I'm at. It's a blessing to be here.
I love it, dude. And so you went to Santa Fe Christian, like you said. You were all state. I looked it up. Let's go.
Okay.
As a punter.
Yes.
Was punting your first love, or did you dream of scoring touchdowns?
So even before punting, I was really into hockey for a long time. I had cousins in Southern, which is weird for Southern California. That was like my first real thing that I was like, I want to try to do this. And then for a little bit, it was riding dirt bikes. That was really fun. And then, I wasn't going to be good enough at hockey on the West Coast to get a scholarship. And, riding dirt bikes professionally was not exactly in the cards either. And started kicking a ball. I was super scrawny, super small, played flag football. And then all of a sudden I was legit scared to get hit, when the pads came on. I didn't play Pop Warner or anything. So I was like, how can I be with my friends on the football team and blend in, but not get killed? And I had no soccer background, no nothing. I'm just going to start trying to be a kicker. And just from there, man, that was definitely, I started out more of as a kicker, now later in my career, I'm obviously just punting, but that was for sure, going into my freshman year of high school, that became my first love very quickly. And here I am. Feels like 20 years later, still going at it. So
yeah, totally, dude. And so then you went to Southern Utah. Let's go, baby.
Correct.
Out to Utah.
Yes.
You had a punting average of 43.3 yards. You're at the top 10 in the FCS, legendary. Obviously a lefty.
Yeah.
Did you ever just, take the snap and just run?
I did. I have 2 clips of that as well. I got to share that with you after. I had 3.
We're clipping them.
I only had 2 that were successful. So 2 that I tell people about. And the first time I did it, I think I took it and ran on a 4th and 12, and I felt like I was running forever. And I think I barely got back to the line of scrimmage. So it was not ideal. And so like that was as a junior in college. And then my next 2, I was for sure going to get it, so we had one South Alabama, one at Montana, which is pretty cool. Both like big, like 30-yard runs, which just like as a punter, dude, like that's so unheard of. So was super stoked on that. Never did any of that, but I like, turn the jets on a little bit.
Dude, going back to the sideline after not getting that first down, what was the vibe like?
It wasn't great. I was over and we were playing at South Dakota in a dome, which they're kind of an FCS powerhouse. The Dakota schools are always big time. And I ran the fake, as a lefty, I ran it to my left. I was comfortable carrying the ball like that. I mean, I'm not comfortable carrying the ball anyways, but ran to their sideline and just get literally creamed out of bounds. I'm like tumbling and I'm kind of seeing stars. We're in their like a indoor dome. And so like I remember like guys standing over me, yelling obscenities at me, like doing the Fortnite, like borderline teabag, like my corpse that's on the sideline there. And just like, I can literally, I mean, that was over 10 years ago now. And it feels like yesterday. I can like look up and see the lights, but like the silhouettes of the helmets on the other team's sideline. I'm just like, I got to run across the field now back to my squad on a turnover. It was yikes, but it was a good moment for sure. Still looking back.
I love it. And dude, so you punted and you obviously held, right, for field goals at Southern.
Oh, so it was interesting. Like, again, like, so backing up to Santa Fe Christian, I always considered myself a field goal kicker, but as you know, it's like guys dabble in both. Like kicker can kind of punt, punter can kind of kick. So I did all 3 in high school. got recruited, got a full ride to Southern Utah as a kicker who punted, kicked field goals as a true freshman. And then the next 3 years, I made the transition to punting. And for whatever reason, you see it all the time. I remember, when you were at Stanford, Dallas Lloyd is your holder. They want an athletic guy holding. And so I was actually the backup holder. I never actually held until I got to the pros. And then now I've been holding for a super long time, because at the pro level, it's always the punter who holds. I don't think there's any NFL teams, UFL teams left that have any other position that holds that's not the punter.
Yeah. Dude, the only thing that I could think of was Tony Romo, because he dropped that snap in the playoffs.
That was like 2010. And I think he was legit the last guy. And that 2010 is however long ago now. So, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, dude, you're a very good holder. I remember you held for me. We went to that camp in Arizona.
Man, was that 2018?
Yeah, 2018.
Good old Coach.
Yes.
It was a long time ago now. Long time.
TBT, man. TBT. So, dude, in college, when girls asked what sport you played and you said football, would you tell them that you were just on the team, or would you say punter?
I'd always lead off with, I'm on the team, but I'm barely on the team. I'm just the ball kicker. And oftentimes too, minus my freshman year where I was kicking and putting it through the post, after that, especially college chicks, they don't know the difference between a punter and a kicker. So I just say I kick the ball. I'm barely on the team, and I have 4 plays a game, and that was it. So,
dude, I would just say I was the quarterback, man. I would just be
I know it doesn't work, and that's the problem, is that I'm 5'11", and so no girls would believe me if I was telling them I was a quarterback.
Damn. Yeah, same. Maybe we can go to China and do that height surgery where they break your legs.
They got everything now, dude, over there. That'd be nice. Stem cells, everything like that, and we could come out like superhuman robots, dude.
I'm very down. Do you think that there's a bigger transition? I mean, specifically for specialists from high school to college or college to the NFL?
Oh man. So you're asking which is the bigger, is there more growth on one or the other?
Yeah, I think what's the bigger jump? I would say one in skill, and then 2 in literally how hard it is, right? I know you're doing the same thing, but it's obviously faster and different.
I'd say skill and mentally, it's definitely a shock going from high school to college. But then on the flip side, it's a bigger shock as far as the business side goes from college to pro. I still love playing professionally, but it's so cutthroat and it's so different. You really don't build as strong of relationships just because guys, it is a business. The personnel department in the front office is just you are literally pawns on the chessboard. Versus in college, to me, that was the perfect blend. You have high school here, college and pro. It's the college is that real sweet spot blend of just everything coming together. I mean, that's why, Americans and watching college football, you can feel just the difference in some of the atmospheres there, even versus an NFL or UFL game. And I think part of that's because of, the business side not being as much. I mean, shoot, it's becoming a business now in college with the portal and everything like that and NIL money. But yeah, so I guess it's definitely a shock every single tier you sort of work your way up. And I still learn things new every single year being in it. As a current pro, it's always learning and the landscape's always changing.
And could you walk us through, where is Brock Miller in his career right now?
Yeah. So, last season, going back to 2024, so USFL, some of the teams folded from 2023. So I got to back up even further. 2023, there was XFL and USFL, 2 separate leagues playing at the same time, essentially in minor league football in the spring. That was 2 leagues that had a common goal to, again, create a true minor league that feeds guys to the NFL. So they ended up merging. And I was on a team that didn't survive the merge. So there were 4 XFL teams that didn't make it, 4 from the USFL that didn't make it. So we could have had a 16-team league. I think that just logistically to get that off the ground was too much. So they had a displaced players draft, essentially, because there was only going to be 8 in the new UFL league. So I went from the New Jersey Generals to the Michigan Panthers. I was selected with the dispersal draft there, played 11 games for them in the past spring. Season wrapped up, had a couple NFL calls that I just went in for the day, kicked for them, tried out. Ultimately hasn't led to anything yet. And I'm just kind of waiting to see next steps as far as, is it back to the UFL? Is it hopefully an NFL call? I'm definitely on the older side now, but I feel like I still even haven't peaked yet. So I'm just riding the wave, training hard, coaching my guys online with my business and my online platform, and just come what may type thing is where I'm at in my season of life.
Yeah. Dude, so money agnostic, stack rank just based on experience, college, NFL, XFL, USFL.
Ooh. I'd have to say, I mean, it was a dream come true getting to put on an LA Rams jersey. I had two
Sick.
stints with them. So like in 2019, I was there for the preseason, and that's back when they had 4 preseason games. I was behind Johnny Hecker. Learning from him was incredible. I mean, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, current Carolina Panther. Got 4 games with them, and it just growing up as a fan of that team that I literally watched, the greatest show on turf in 1999. And then here I am in their throwback uniforms that they busted out for some reason in the preseason, getting to wear that. It was like, I remember when that game ended and I took that jersey off, I was like, if I never play again, like this is realistically is I've done it. Like I lived, my childhood dream that I first started trying to do at 12 years old. But I'm so grateful to still be doing this. And it's really hard. Like after that moment, like everything else to me is just all equal. Like NFL practice squads, USFL, XFL, UFL, like it's all getting paid to do what you love is just an incredible thing. I mean, it's hard to let go of right now. So hopefully I got at least another year or two in the tank for that.
How do you feel about the XFL kickoff coming to the NFL?
I think it's good. I mean, like anytime you can like protect players and, obviously that's not something I personally experience is getting hit all the time and stuff like that. But it's just, it's insane, man. What once you're in a building and you see what guys go through day to day, in the building, at practice, in games, it's like anything. I'm all about the violence and the passion of the game, but at the same time, like you can do that in a smart way. And I think it's great because, in the past, like even D1 college kicker now is going to boot it 10 deep from the 35, like with the traditional kickoff with everyone covering. To me, there's nothing more like deflating, like whether it's a Super Bowl game or a playoff game where it's like opening kickoff and it's just like touchback every time. Like I understand what they're trying to do to create some excitement with, the plays like that, as well as like making it safer. It's definitely a win-win. I don't know what it's like to coach that or anything other logistically wise, but I think it's a good thing for the time being, and it's exciting. There's more to do now, more to watch as a fan too.
Yeah. Could you take us through your standard training day and then take us through how you treat game day?
Okay, so this is essentially in season, hypothetically speaking.
Yeah. Maybe in season, and then let's do 3. Let's do what's your standard San Diego training day?
Okay, so
Let's start there. Actually, I think that's interesting.
Hey, San Diego off season, man. I mean, I love it. I'm a kind of a gym rat. I love being in there. That's what I look forward to, being at the gym and the field. Obviously, I'm not at the field every day swinging the leg, especially now that I'm older. It's all about kind of saving that. But I'm really throwing weights around 6 days a week, first thing in the morning, driving back, scoping the waves on the way after the lift. And if it's a kicking day, I'll grab a protein shake and then head straight to the field after lifting, doing some core stuff like that, knocking all of that out in the morning. And again, that kind of takes me back, so I'm done with all the stuff I need to do by 9:30 or 10 in the morning. And then I'm available to all of my guys across the country for my coaching stuff. And so like the off season is a special time here, and where I live and what I do. And it's just like, again, every day is awesome because I love, really doing the same thing every day, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Probably good that you're a creature of habit, where hunting is definitely a habit thing.
Yeah, I'm a really like loyal person, I guess. It's like I find something that I like, I'm into it, and it's like even down to food. You mentioned food advocate, and in the start of the intro there, my wife might disagree with you. Like I really eat the same things every day, and I'm like my dog, dude. I don't get tired of it. It's easy to do. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And like the burnout really doesn't happen to me that often. So I don't know. Maybe that's just how I'm wired, I guess.
Dude, so why do you wake up so early? It's hard. I wish I woke up that early, dude.
I go to bed
I'm
early.
impressed.
That's the thing, man. I go to bed early. I just being older now, and again, I'm also just trying to prepare myself, like, with a baby boy on the way. Like that's gonna uproot the schedule. I'm super excited. I'm a little scared about it because I am so routine, and that definitely throws a wrench in things. But I'm just, past the college days, it's like if I'm not watching something on TV at 8:30 or 9, it's like I got nothing better to do. If I'm all caught up in my work and stuff with my guys that I coach, it's like, I'm just early to bed, early to rise. I've always needed a ton of sleep, 8-9 hours minimum. So it's just like, I'm up, dude, ready to roll 6:30.
Yeah. Dude, so you're jacked. No way around it. You are. What would be the top 3 things you'd tell someone who wants to get jacked? Where do we start?
Okay. Number one, it sounds corny, is consistency. And that's a blanket statement with the training and the eating. But like once you get, I'd say for most people, like anywhere from 3 to 6 months, like if you're consistent for that long, it's just like you're kind of on autopilot. Like you just do it. And I genuinely love it. Maybe you don't get to that point ever, but I'd say consistency is the number one thing that's going to get you where you want to go. Now it's a marathon, not a sprint either. I had some kid come up to me at the gym recently and he basically like with his buddies, he's like, dude, you're on trend, you're on this or whatever. And I was like, how old are you? He's like, I'm 15. And I was like, I'm 30 plus. Like I've literally been, since you've been born, like since 15 years of your life, I've been in the gym probably 300 days out of the year for those 15 years. And so like that, even if you have no idea what you're doing in the gym or whatever your goals are, like if you're just showing up that much, you're going to get results, you know? And then obviously when you stack those years, your funnel just gets more and more narrow into like, you know, knowing what's going to work and trial and error. And that was a lot of it too. Even with my coaching, man, it's like, that's what I offer to my guys is that like, you know, I figured so much and spent so much time guessing in the gym and like, especially even on the field with my kicking drills and stuff, that it's like, check your brain at the door, work with me. And it's like, I can help you get to where you want to go a lot sooner with a lot less of that, like taking other paths and figuring out, you know, just trying to guess and figure it all out.
Yeah. Dude, so one's consistency.
Yeah.
And then what would you say the other 2 are?
I guess nutrition's a huge piece of it for sure. Obviously, everyone talks about eating whole foods, but that's, you know, something that I really tapped into like my senior year of college. Like when we were young, it was like, as college football workouts go, you know, it's like you really, as a leaner guy with as hard as you train, you know, the stuff they put you through in college, like you can eat whatever you want. And you're like, you're not going to get fat. But it was like, I really wanted to goals and aspirations of playing professionally. I was like going into my senior year, like I'm going to dial in that X factor piece with the nutrition and see where it takes me. And I was going above and beyond, like, you know, weighing food and stuff like that. I mean, that's a little bit over the top for sure, but I'd say just finding the nutrition stuff that works for you too was the biggest thing. So consistency and nutrition, it's like, dude, that's really honestly all it takes to, you know, get results and get jacked.
Totally,
and then, you know, you don't even need 3 things in my opinion.
yeah, no, I love that. Keep it
Yeah.
simple. Dude, I started taking creatine when I turned 30 and got back in the gym, and I've gotten my bench back up to where it was when I was a 5th year at Stanford, which I'm proud of.
Huge.
And I feel like so much of it has been just getting in the gym every day, protein, creatine, and just moving weight, right? Like it's just do a push and a pull, like just hit it and keep it simple.
It's that keeping it simple is totally my forte because anything else it's too much. And unless you're literally trying to be Mr. Olympia and taking steroids, doing all this stuff, most guys just want to look good. They want to be comfortable with their shirt off at the beach. But creatine, in my opinion, is really the only supplement that you need. Tracking your protein and trying to get, you know, roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. It's like that. And then a 45-minute intense workout. That's the other question I get all the time. They're like, I don't have time to go to the gym 5-6 days a week and be there for 2 hours. It's like, I'm literally like lifting for 45 minutes. It's intense, but like I'm in and out quick, sometimes less, you know what I mean? And it's like, dude, every day, like 30 to 45 minutes a day, I promise you, whoever you are, you can do that. And then it comes back to, you know, like the consistency and the nutrition, like supplementing some stuff. It's simple, but not easy. That's the best way I can describe it. You know what I mean? It's simple to, you know, the formula is simple, but following it, it's not easy.
Yeah. Does that 45 include cardio or do you do that separate?
I have never been a cardio guy. I guess I walk my dog, which is 30 minutes a day. You know, that's the big thing right now is in the fitness scene is getting your steps in. I've just always been to like, not been into cycling, not been into running, any of that really. Just walking my dog, man, half an hour a day on top of the steps that I get in the gym and just other stuff. It's like I'm hitting around 7,000 to 8,000 steps. And it's like, to me, that's my favorite form of cardio. So I'm not a at the gym cardio guy. I know some people are, you know, living right now in February in Chicago or Minnesota or whatever, where it's freezing outside. So you may have to do that. But just walking is so powerful as far as not breaking your body down, but still getting good fat loss. So, yeah.
Dude, I'm the exact same. I literally hit the weights and then you can't do this because you're married, obviously, but I then do incline treadmill and I just go through the dating apps and it's just one time a day. Just quick scroll through, get a little dopamine and then
I've been out of the
get them
game
off.
for a long time. I mean, what dating apps are even like when I was still on the scene, on the market, it was like Tinder was really the only thing. And now there's so many. I saw it in one of your clips on one of the podcasts. You mentioned one of the apps and I was like, never heard of that in my life.
Yeah. Dude,
But
there's so many now. There's so many now. The biggest one is definitely Raya. It started as celebrities only. They did
okay,
such a good job. Started celebrities only, and then they slowly let like normal people in, and so it just was inherently cool.
what a draw. That's genius.
Yeah, they crushed it, dude. They crushed it. It's expensive, dude. It's like $300 a year or something, which is
Unbelievable.
expensive for dating apps.
You're walking an incline treadmill after you got a nice upper body pump and just kind of seeing what fish are out there, what's biting on the apps.
That's literally, yeah, what I do. And then I don't think about them the rest of my life.
That's good. That's good, man. Like again, that's your routine, and that's
Yeah.
again probably something also that you look forward to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Dude, one of my buddies did say that every time you lift, you should do some sort of legs because it's your, quads and hamstrings are the two biggest muscles in your body. And so if you work them, you'll release more testosterone.
that's facts, 100%. So I don't necessarily have like sprinkle in legs every single day, but I do try to hit. So in a 7-day week, at least 2 intense 45-minute pure leg workouts. And even in season, honestly, I'm trying to hit legs hard at least once a week. And it helps me stay strong, stay fast. And again, yeah, like training your legs relatively heavy, more intensity based over heavy is such good, natural testosterone production for us men, which is a huge issue with a lot of guys, even, late 20s, early 30s, as I'm sure, with your business, but that's been keeping me going. And yeah, I think you obviously can't skip leg day. That's, that meme's out there for a reason.
Totally. Yeah. Don't skip leg day.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of, do you have any hot takes when it comes to training or fitness?
Hot takes, I guess like just the 45-minute is kind of a hot take.
A good one.
What I mean? It's just like, I think with Instagram and stuff now, like everyone's trying to, again, like, keep it simple, stupid type thing is how I think, but it's like Instagram, like that doesn't sell with clicks and things like that. But I guess that's a hot take that it's just like, I've been really doing, I have kids hit me up, my mom's hit me up. Like, I'm so bored with my like normal, like workout split. And it's like, sorry, you know what I mean? Like these are like a lot of these things are the best thing that you can do for a reason, like you can mix up the tempo or the sets and the reps and stuff like that. But it really comes back to like, kind of like a food pyramid, that stuff at the base is, the most important. So I guess not a hot take really. It's just keeping it simple is definitely, I guess, my hot take, so to speak.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be all fancy.
And what would your advice be for a kicker or punter who's starting right now?
As far as weight training goes,
I think we'd start weight training and then second the actual training of kicking and punting.
Yeah, definitely. So as a young kid looking to get into it, I mean, it's such a competitive scene now, and that honestly, the weight training is you have to buy in. So going back to like the 80s and 90s, like NFL kickers were literally like Italian implant, like soccer players, half the league, and like these guys were out of shape. They're the only ones that knew how to kick soccer style, and like they'd smoke and drink on the side. Like it was super chill. And now it's like, man, that is being in the weight room as a specialist is a must to even like make your varsity team. You know what I mean? As a kicker or punter, which, wasn't the case even back when I was trying to start doing it. It was like, if you had any kind of half decent ability, it was like, okay, cool, you're there. And it's like, now it's just everything is constantly doing this reposition. And so, you need to I have an eighth grader in my program that I work with that is just like, he kind of knows that that's a must if I want to do this for more than just like a hobby on the side. So you have to buy in and find that routine that works for you, even as a kicker or punter, which just wasn't the case back in the day.
I feel like when I'm working with a new kicker or punter, you can kind of tell in the first kick whether they can have a shot, I would say, to make it at the next level.
No question.
You really only need to see one kick.
No question. Even at the pro level, man, like, and this takes me back to the Rams days. Greg Zuerlein was their kicker. He's with the New York Jets now. I think he spent most of the year on an injured reserve, unfortunately, but he was saying that even back then, I think he was he'd been in the league for 6 or 7 years, maybe 8. And he was telling me that like, oh yeah, like, I watch other kickers in preseason or training camp on other teams that are competing with the starting guy coming in. He's like, I can watch even at the pro level, one guy hit one ball, even if it's their first kick, whatever, and just go, he's got it or he doesn't as far as being one of the 32 in the NFL. And that totally trickles down to even high school kids. I've seen a lot. You've probably seen a lot. Because some of it even comes down to just like the equipment, like, a junior kicker telling me that he wants to go play at Alabama, and then he shows up for one of our lessons in person or online, and he's got composite footballs and football cleats and an orange Dick's Sporting Goods kicking tee. It's like, I don't want to like make an assumption before I see it, but it's like, realistically, you're right. You can tell really quickly, even at the high school level, like kind of roughly where someone's going to potentially be able to take their talent.
Yeah, totally, dude. And I mean, I will say though, I started playing soccer, right? And so I feel like having that base of just getting a leg swing is really helpful. When you're young, it's like when you grew up playing golf, it's so much easier to play golf when you're older.
Yes. And I think soccer is an absolute huge tool. Like everyone talks about, like you get bad habits from soccer, but I'm like, the best kicker, like you look at Brandon Aubrey right now, who was a spring league guy, and now he's probably going to go to the Hall of Fame one day. He's having an amazing career with the Cowboys, and even Jake Bates, who played with me in UFL last year, is now with the Detroit Lions. Soccer background, it's like they've all said the same thing, that like you learn how to manipulate your body and make contact with a sweet spot of a ball, and if you do it at a young age, it's such an advantage. So that's the one thing, man. Who knows where I'd be if I had played soccer growing up? But yeah, I think that's a huge weapon to have as kind of that baseline before you actually can get into kicking and punting out of, most guys started in high school. So,
and Jake Bates, definitely one of the success stories. Can you tell me more about him and your relationship?
One of the best just human beings that I've ever been around. We both so he was signed, he had been released by the Houston Texans in 2023, and then never really heard anything after that. Like, he didn't get a ton of tape there, was essentially a backup at Arkansas behind Cam Little, who's now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and so just didn't have an opportunity to showcase. And so it was like, I'm sure you've heard his story about he was going to sell brick and was salesman, was going to go down that route. Ended up getting signed by our team. We met up obviously there, snapper, punter, kicker. You have that, you got to be able to gel really quickly. And again, being a punter who obviously holds, I've held for a lot of guys. And I remember just my first couple reps with him, obviously my face is very close to the ball, with my holds and everything, just the sound that it made and watching the trajectory, I was like, this guy's going to be special. And week one, he hits essentially two 64-yard field goals because he was iced on the first one.
Insane.
The second, and both of them hit the net. And I was like, we were sitting on the plane after the game, bro. And I was like, if you you could probably miss every single kick for the rest of the season after that. And a coach is going to see that leg, that 1 in a million leg, and go, I can make him accurate. And obviously he ended up, I think, 80 something +% on the season, and was a Pro Bowl alternate as a rookie this year. It's like, yeah, the dude's got it. So, but dude, off the field too, just an awesome guy to be around. And yeah, I wish I, would have got more time to play with him, but he's obviously doing it at the highest level now. So
yeah. And dude, can you tell us a little bit more about the NFL? You touched on it a little bit, but it's a business. When I was briefly there, not nearly as long as you.
Hey, you were an NFL Combine guy.
I went to the Combine, happening right now.
I didn't have a Combine invite, so hey.
Damn. Combine was brutal. Fun fact though, Combine was Harrison Butker, Jake Elliott, Zane Gonzalez, and then Conrad Ukrapina. Those three were 3 of the 4 kickers in the AFC and NFC championship games.
But who win 100%?
Dude,
come on.
If I maintain, and this might not be true, but I'm just gonna roll with it because it makes me feel good. If they had the current kickoff rule when I was coming out, I swear I'd be in the NFL. Who knows if that's true, but for my mental health, I'm going to say it.
Dude, no question. I was just you beat me to it. I was like, I hate to say it, but if that was, the way things are now, it was like, you just want a guy that can make kicks and has touch on the kickoffs. And it's like, I didn't realize those were the other names that were there that year.
Wild.
That's pretty insane.
Wild.
Pretty insane. I didn't cut you off. I don't know where the question was going about the NFL.
Just, can you tell me more about how it's a business? I feel like no one sees that and no one understands that. And when people hear, oh yeah, you were in the NFL, they think I'm Tom Brady and had the most glamorous experience.
Yeah, no, it's like, that was, so it took me 2 years to sign my first NFL contract after the draft came and went for me out of school. I didn't even get to a rookie mini camp out of my first year in college. That took another year. But signing my first contract with San Francisco, I walked into the building, I signed in January, and then we reported in April for OTAs. And I walk in there and I'm just like, trying to figure it all out. My eyes are this big. Like Joe Staley was in there, 15-year vet. And it's like, I'm just trying to figure it out. And I had one guy pulled me aside, Marquise Goodwin. He was a University of Texas receiver and Olympian, like 400-meter sprinter. He was one of the like only guys who like kind of took the time to get to know me. And we sat down. I remember early on, like I had only been there for like a month or two. And I was like, so is everybody, pretty cool on the team? Like it seems, like kind of a lot of guys keep to themselves, whatever. And he basically broke it down for me. And he was like, look, he's like, with the exception of like 10 names on the roster that are kind of the face of the team, like the whole other, like there was 90, in the off season, like that whole other 80 guys. And then even when they cut down to 53, like, that bottom half of the roster is just a carousel where they're constantly turning guys over. And so he literally broke it down to me. It was kind of like shock. He was like, these guys like Joe Staley, who had been there for 15 years, it's literally such a revolving door that it's not even legit worth his time to go out of his way to meet somebody that's probably going to be gone like the next week. And literally I was like, okay, so he's not being a dick. It's like, it's just literally such a revolving door. It's such a business. And like literally I was cut like a week later. So I was like, oh, okay, like now I'm living it. And so just that side of things. And obviously it's even harder as a specialist because each team carries two, one kicker, one punter. It's the hardest, job in the world to get, I think, at our position. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. Statistically, right, there's 32 kickers and 32 punters, and that's it.
Yeah. And that's why the UFL has been such a blessing. And even these, other minor leagues, it was like, okay, 32 NFL, you have 8 CFL, 8 UFL at either just a kicker or punter. And it was like, okay, so to be top 50 in the world at anything is pretty cool. Even if that money isn't NFL money, it's like, if you love doing it, it's the best job in the world, no doubt.
Yeah. And at any given time, how many guys do you think are really at the NFL level? Do you think there are 50 guys who could really play? Is it 100? Is it really only like 35?
Yes. I think honestly, man, like as far as kickers and punters go, so obviously we just talked, there's 32 at each. I think the bottom half of the league, kicker, the bottom 15 punters, whatever, there's a handful of guys, whether it's UFL or CFL or even a couple of street free agents, like there's a handful that's like, you could literally plug one of those guys into, fill in the blanks jersey essentially on a Sunday. And like the casual fan, like they would do a great job. You know what I mean? But, with the exception of the top 10, I think at both position, like those guys, there are some absolutely insane, like you mentioned, like a Harrison Butker, or even a Jake Elliott. I mean, just an insane performance in the Super Bowl, with the exception of a couple, I think, punters and kickers that are currently in the NFL doing it at the highest level. The bottom half, I think there's a handful of, I'd say maybe 25 to 35 guys out there in the minor leagues or at home that could plug into those positions and be successful right away. So that's what keeps you going too. It's like, I'm still kind of sort of waiting on my break type thing because I think I could be one of those guys and help a team. But that's the way I look at it. And I've heard other guys kind of say the same.
Totally, dude. No,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And then coaching, man.
Yeah.
How'd you get into that? How's that going? And what's your philosophy as you coach kids?
Yeah. So how I got into it, like I always had like my mom and my wife and some other people around me say like, yeah, in between seasons or like in between practice squads or whatever it is, like you should be coaching. And where I am in San Diego is very saturated with a lot of high level coaches, Nick Novak, John Carney, Michael Husted. I mean, like this area, again, the bubble is like, there's a lot of resources that, local kids can pull from. And so I was like, it's not worth my time because, I respect all three of those guys as coaches. And it's like, that's kind of already there now. But after my second USFL season with New Jersey, it was like, the league was picking up steam and I was getting kids following me and asking me questions in DMs that lived in Iowa or, Milwaukee or these random areas that were like, there aren't, coaches that kicking and punting so niche, they didn't have access to even simple coaching help, let alone somebody who's professional. And so it was like, I just started getting the ball rolling to go, how can I help these kids who need help where I'm here and they're there? And it's like, why can't I do some sort of FaceTime platform to get them the help they need and do that in between spring seasons?
When you do get a call to come in for, a workout, can you just walk someone through how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll back you up actually, even on that. There was a guy who played in the UFL last year, Drew Chrisman, who spent some time with the Birmingham Stallions, and then had also been a starter for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's a like YouTuber slash influencer now. He's actually made like day in the life POV style videos of NFL workouts. It's all roughly as a punter, like pretty much the same. You know, they can only have you do so many things. We're definitely not running, jumping, or lifting or doing any of that. I mean, usually, so my most recent workout was with the Buffalo Bills. They called me on a Saturday or Sunday, flew out a day or two later. I mean, somebody calls my agent, the agent calls me, book me a flight, fly out the night before, get in late. They have somebody, a low-level scout usually pick you up, take you over to the hotel, per diem dinner on them type thing. Hey, here's a schedule for tomorrow. We'll pick you up at 11 a.m. Literally go to the facility, get dressed, get changed into their gear, check things out, and then you're on the field with their staff, and they're telling, they're asking you at that point, we want to see balls over here, this, that, whatever you can do. I've had teams have me kick like 70, 80 balls. I've had teams literally, like when I went to the Bills, I think I had 12 total. So I flew cross country for 12 kicks, and I've had so many of those now. That's anywhere on that scale, give or take, is kind of just how it is. And then if you're not immediately signed, they've got you a flight home and shake some hands, and that's it.
Yeah. And how do NFL contracts work for punters?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, checks for all positions, like minus the actual monetary value and everything, is roughly the same. And that's the thing. Like, I remember sitting when I signed with San Francisco, seeing like it was a 3-year deal. It was like, okay, year one was, I think at the time it was like 525, and then year two was 675, and then year three was 750. And it was like, I took a picture and like I sent it to my dad and like, I think, my fiance, now wife at the time. And it was like, you have to explain the fact that is just what the only contractual, the agreement there is essentially, this is X, Y, and Z that we will pay you if you are on our team once the season starts. Like, I signed that contract in January and it's all irrelevant. Like, it can literally be ripped up and you can be cut at any time, which I was. The only thing about contracts, unless you have guaranteed money, which most punters and kickers don't get, especially when it's their first time signing. It's just the only thing that contract is that like you're on the team and this is what we pay you if you are on the active roster come September 8th or whatever, week one is. And so it was like, I didn't see any of that money, essentially. I mean, a couple pennies here or there throughout OTAs, but like all the big money does not come until in season.
And it's paid per game, right?
Yep. So just your game checks. Like, I never actually played in a regular season NFL game, but play on a Sunday and then you have a direct deposit game check for on Tuesday or the following Friday or whatever it is. And I did have some practice squad time, which to me is like the best job in the world. It's insane. And that's a similar type thing where, you practice all week and then you get paid for that week the following Friday or whatever it is. And yeah, like that's really where the only big money is in the NFL is the game checks. And I guess drafted guys like signing bonuses and stuff like that. But yeah, for the most bottom half of the league, man, that's kind of how bottom half of the players on each roster, that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I feel like it's a grind for 90, exactly like you said, right? There's those 10 dudes at the top and everyone else, it's a grind.
Yeah.
Which people don't understand.
No doubt. It's a real uphill battle as a specialist at any position, really. If you're undrafted, it's just an absolute war to make that, a career, because again, you're not a household name. And if you're not a household name, then you're on that carousel and just trying to, blood, sweat, and tears, just make it happen. And, you see guys come out of Stanford that are just world beaters. That it's that same type of mentality. And so, I'm still in the same boat, still hanging on, trying to make that happen. But again, it doesn't feel like it is a grind, but doesn't feel like it to me because I still really love doing it. But there's guys who fizzle out all the time because they try to get into the league because of the money. Maybe they had a decent college career. It's like, if you're doing it for the money and you don't truly love the craft, you're burning out instantly once you're in it trying to make it happen.
Your parents and your wife are 3 of my favorite people in the world.
Me too.
When I graduated college, we went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Epic trip.
Can you
tell me a little about them? And I know they're super supportive and just what that's meant to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely like all these jerseys and everything back here. Like, there's no way that, I would have had the memories and the experiences that I have if it wasn't for honestly all three of them. But it definitely starts with my dad as far as just being an amazing support from the start. Like I think so his goal, when like kind of when I was really young was he was a professional triathlete. He was a track guy in college and then just had a dream of making the Ironman World Championships. Hold on. He's actually calling me right now. That's crazy.
Go.
So he had
Doug.
he had that sort of burning passion. And I think he saw at a young age, like what kicking and punting meant to me. And I think he kind of even me as a high schooler that like, hey, this is what he wants to do. And so he just supported me in every way possible. I mean, we had a kicking net in the backyard. He laid turf down. So I'd stop tearing up the yard. And it was like, new footballs, camps, like, any specialist knows like that's in it right now, what it takes to just even have a chance. And my mom was on board as well. And then obviously, my wife, she's really seen the ups and downs and the uncertainty of everything. And so that whole, like you said, like, it's just, again, can't thank them enough. And I definitely just would not be where I am today without them and their support, because it is such an insane, there's nothing like trying to make this whole thing happen without them. But great. Yeah. It is the amazing trio, like you said. Like people stop me all the time and they're like, hey, are you Doug's son? Like, I have no idea who they are. I'm like, yeah. So that speaks on it for sure. He's just how he is.
Yeah. And for the people who don't know, your parents are just incredible. I consider them, some of my second parents. And every time I'm down in San Diego, I always go by and see them. And they're just the kindest, most caring people and just literally the best. And I know that if I ever needed anything that they would come through, and I feel like it's very rare. But dude, on the Jess sides, when people get married, they report higher happiness, higher income, and longer life. Like you literally live longer when you're married. And I feel people in professional sports, they're obviously high performers, and a lot of them are married. Do you think that translates into sport?
Yeah, I didn't know the statistics behind it, but that makes sense to me, honestly. Especially like, again, when it is like a professional sport, whether that's football or anything, like, again, like the business side, it beats you down. And it'd be really interesting actually, like to where I was, where I am now as a 33-year-old, if I look back and it was like, if I had all these experience, it happened to be the exact same and like been single the whole time and just like bachelor life, like, I don't know what that would do to my, my psyche and everything like that. Just because it is so crazy that I honestly believe everything you're saying as far as that being, you really in some sense like kind of have to have that. And I think just connecting the dots right now, like you look at, some guys that are drafted into the NFL or even like Major League Baseball that are like, 20, 21, 22 years old that like obviously a lot of times aren't married or don't have that support. Like you have all this money and then all of a sudden 3 years later, your contract's expired and nobody wants to sign you and you haven't really done anything yet. And like you used to be this superstar. It's like to not have, if you don't have a faith or like family behind you, it's like, I think that's why you see a lot of these guys that have, end up in really bad situations because they don't have, any of that. And it's, again, if you are a college player, like you have all of that support, even if it's staff, or stuff like that, that all of a sudden NFL, like it's done. If you don't have any of that kind of like a safety net, it's just tough. And I honestly can't even speak on what that's like because I've really always had it. And again, that's definitely part of the reason why I'm still going. So
awesome, dude.
Yeah,
that's beautiful, dude. So one more question, and then we're gonna go to speed round. What's next, man? Like, what are you excited about? What's on the horizon? I know you're still punting and crushing it, and you said you have not reached your ceiling, which I fully believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hitting the best footballs that I ever have in my entire life, and whether or not I get to help a team do that, with my leg this year, I'm praying that happens. But if not, I guess I'm sort of at peace with it. I say that I don't really know yet. I'm gonna keep writing it out, but honestly, the thing that I'm excited for most right now is the birth of my son coming up. We got a baby boy due Cinco de Mayo, 2025. So very aesthetically pleasing, due date 5/5/25. So I'm kind of hoping he comes on that day. But more than anything, just these last 7 months really of like preparing for that is, the most excited that I've been for anything in a long time. So, there's a lot of uncertainty for sure, whether it's sign an NFL contract and be in OTAs when I have to fly home to, have the baby come, or whether it's move my wife out to, during the UFL season and have him out there. It's just, or be here. The third option is be here and be present for all of this and just be coaching and be present. The biggest thing that I'm excited about is him being here. And this is, when 2024 ended, my wife and I talked, and it was like, this is our last season, like our last year on earth of, being, non-parents essentially. And it's so surreal to think about. So crazy now, just 2 years into 2025, there's so much uncertainty ahead, but like, I'm just excited for, whatever.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo, I'll be down there with some tequila.
Perfect.
To celebrate, dude.
Looking forward to it.
I love it. Okay, Brock, we're going to go into the speed round. So I'm going to give you just a quick, it's going to be like a quick question, and just give me a 1-word answer.
Okay. I'm ready for it.
Okay. Favorite game you ever played in?
Coliseum preseason against the Denver Broncos.
Favorite Blink-182?
You cannot do that to me. I got to go with the first song I've ever heard, Dumpweed, track number 1, Enema of the State, 1999. That intro, unbeatable.
Love it. For those who don't know, Brock's a huge Blink-182 fan, which brings me to the next question. How many times have you seen Blink in concert?
Oh my gosh. Okay, 2011, 2015, 2016. It's got to be like 6 or 7 now. Saw them at Petco Park last year. Probably my favorite. These are supposed to be speed rounds. Like 6.
No, it's good. You're good.
6 or 7 times.
I love it. I love it. Favorite source of protein?
I got to go grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef.
I love it. I love it. Best kicker you've ever seen in person?
I got to go with Jacob Bates.
Best punter you've ever seen in person besides yourself?
Best punter I've ever seen in person. I've seen a lot. I got to go with Johnny Hecker. Again, current Carolina Panther.
Yep. Most physically intimidating football player you've seen in the NFL?
Trent Brown. 6'9" O-lineman. I think he's with either New England or Vegas now. I mean, he was with me in 49ers, dude. And every day I saw him in the locker room, it was a shock to my system. I think he's 6'9", 400.
My God. I feel like he could just rip my head off.
It was like I was looking at a Grizzly.
Yeah. My God. Nicest NFL player.
Nicest NFL player. I'm going to go with, here's an Italian name for you, Giorgio Tavecchio. He was, I went to the Oakland Raiders. That dates me a little bit. Oakland Raiders minicamp. He was the second string kicker trying to take Sebastian Janikowski's job. And so I got to get to meet and work with him and hold for him. Just literally, and some of the coaches that, have worked with him in the past too, will tell you, Giorgio is just the nicest, sweetest. My parents even housed him for a little bit down in San Diego. Giorgio Tavecchio, greatest dude I've ever met.
Favorite coach?
Mike Riley. Played for him 2 years, USFL. He's coached, look him up on Wikipedia, man. He's in his 70s now. Still trying to get back into coaching. Was a head coach of the San Diego Chargers in 99. And absolutely changed my life for the 2 years that I played under him in 2022 and 2023 USFL.
Most intense NFL locker room culture.
Most intense NFL locker room culture. I mean, I've only dabbled a little bit. I'm not going to go NFL locker room. I'll go UFL locker room culture. This past season with the Michigan Panthers, man, just very military style. Nobody's patting you on the back. You just show up and do your job. And if you don't do it, you're out of here. And there's just not much. There's no other fluff around it. It was very, very intense, super cutthroat, but loved every second of it.
If a guy breaks through on a punt, are you going low or going high to tackle him?
I'm going low and just trying to look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you got to. What's your single favorite movement? Like bench press, whatever, lift movement in the gym.
I gotta say, trap bar, hex bar, deadlift.
Oh,
just full body, leg focused. It's safe. That's to me, I'm always preaching that to my athletes, regardless of honestly what their goals are.
I need to do that more. Chest day or leg day?
I got to go leg day as a punter, man.
Yeah. Traditional bench or dumbbell bench?
I haven't been doing a lot of dumbbell lately, man. I mean, something about the plates on the bar clanging as you move weight is just that puts it slightly ahead for me.
Yeah, it just makes me feel so manly, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Dream car?
Honestly, I've never been super into cars, but I just love the way that the Ford Raptors look. I have a Toyota Tacoma right now, and just the Ford Raptor truck. It's beefy, but it's not too douchey. So apparently they're really overpriced. I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford one, but they just look to me, that's like the sickest truck that you could get.
You will, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This next question, I need to have a little bit of context. Some kickers and punters, they will wear a different cleat on their plant foot for more stability.
Yes.
So for you, Brock, are you a plant cleat guy, or do you wear two of the same soccer cleats?
I wear two soccer cleats. To be fair, most punters do the same. It's more kickers in my experience that I've seen, because you're coming in at an angle and you're opening up that plant foot. Punting, like, it's all straight, and so you really don't need as much of that support. And I always felt like it was weird, like the weight difference when I was taking my steps between football cleat and the soccer cleat. So I've really always been a just traditional two soccer boots type guy.
Who would play you in a Brock Miller documentary?
Who would play me? Oh man,
Yeah,
that's tough. I'm not good with actors' names. Who's somebody that's really handsome that I think would?
Tom
I guess
Holland.
everybody loves Ryan Reynolds, right? But he's like older now.
Ryan Reynolds.
There we
That's
go.
good, yeah.
Go with him.
I love that. Favorite superhero?
Again, like, I'm not like a Marvel guy. Like, I'm not super into that whole scene. I understand the appeal. It's just not my thing. But I was always like, as a kid, like Spider-Man was always sick to me. Like, I think I went as Spider-Man like 3 different Halloweens. I was doing all like the web stuff, you know. So,
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
What's your biggest pet peeve in life? Something that bothers you?
Okay, so like blanket statement, like whether you're not racking your weights at the gym or you're not putting your shopping cart back at Sprouts, like those people, you got to figure it out. It's all right.
I could not agree more. My one gym thing is when people put the dumbbells on the wrong part. You know, like they put the 5s where the 60s go, and it's always so close to. It's just like my brother in Christ moved them like 2 over. Please.
I literally did it. I'm not even joking. Like a week ago, there was a dude that literally put the 20s like where the 50s go. And he just left him there, and he picked up another set, and he started doing something right in front of me. I waited for him to take a rest so that I could purposely walk in front of him, grab the 20s, and put them where they belong. And I was like, I was also bigger than him, so I was like, I'm hoping, please say something to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please say something, dude.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough.
Please. Childhood nickname.
I got made fun of. I had a license plate in high school that said "Be Rockin'" or "Rockin'," but nobody told me that. I didn't have any nicknames, so I guess I'll go with that.
No, it's good. What was your AIM screen name?
I had a couple. The first one that I had, again, I was into hockey when I was really little, so I was Hockey Brock at AIM, just chatting with chicks.
Yeah, dude, just chatting with chicks. When you needed something when you were growing up, would you go to your mom or your dad?
I'd go to my mom. Yeah. She was a softie for me. I think my brother would say the opposite. He'd go to his dad, so just teach their own.
I love that. And then last one, dude.
Okay.
What's Brock's life motto?
Life motto?
Hard.
That's a tough one. I don't know if I can do a life motto. I can do my life Bible verse, Romans 12:2. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So words to live by. Can't call it a motto because it's written in the Bible, but I'm rolling with that. Finally.
That's awesome. Dude, that's the perfect way to end.
Yeah.
Brock, just for people who want to reach out, kickers and things, where can they find you?
Yes. Instagram or Twitter, I believe my handle's the same on both, BR0CKMILLER. And yeah, I'm always looking for, even if I'm still playing, I've had a lot of guys that I've been currently working with, like, if you go back to UFL, can we still train? My platform and my one-to-one, essentially coaching that I've built, I'm very flexible with and can get you the help that you need at all times. So shoot me a follow, shoot me a message with any questions, and I'm here to help y'all.
I love it. Awesome. Brock, thanks for coming on, dude. You're the man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. This podcast is going to the moon, bro.
Let's go to the moon, baby. Just like your puns.
Let's go.
You're the man, brother. Talk soon.
Right. Later.